welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you've been feeling like literally everything is demanding your attention all at once lately, I need you to know right now, you are absolutely not alone. Today, we're diving into the actual biological reality of overwhelm, and more importantly, we're going to lay out some highly actionable, tailored blueprints to actually deal with it. Because here's the thing, overwhelm is not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. So we're going to explore specific support strategies for three very distinct experiences: neurotypical, autistic, and ADHD nervous systems. We are getting right to the core of how to manage an overloaded life in a world that just keeps speeding up.
What if I cannot keep up? When you really dig into the source material for this, you realize just how much the sheer speed of modern life is compounding on top of everything else we're doing. I mean, the pressure to understand, to use, to just keep pace with AI, it is relentless. For a lot of us, AI isn't just about exciting new tools. It brings this quiet, nagging fear, right? We catch ourselves thinking, wait, what if my job changes too fast? Or is everyone else just way more productive than I am? That intense, fast-paced pressure to constantly adapt, it can easily leave you feeling like you are perpetually falling behind.
And it's rarely just one massive, dramatic event that pushes us over the edge, is it? No, modern overload is the relentless accumulation of daily stressors. It's the unfinished tasks staring at you, the constant pinging of notifications, very real financial and cost of living pressures, and, of course, a steady stream of heavy global news. Add in that lingering feeling that you should always be learning some new tech just to stay relevant. It's a lot. Your phone literally never stops throwing new information at you. But listen, if you're finding all of this exhausting, it does not mean you're doing life wrong.
Okay, let's just take a collective deep breath here and slow things down for a second. When we feel overwhelmed, our inner critic tends to get incredibly harsh. We sit there and tell ourselves we're just being lazy, that we're failing, or that we're weak. We think, I just need to be more disciplined. But the data tells a completely different story. Overwhelm is absolutely not a character flaw. It is a biological reality. It happens when the demands placed on you are mathematically greater than the cognitive, emotional, and physical resources you actually have available in that moment. Your mind is literally just trying to protect itself from taking in more than it can process.
So let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today, just to instantly reduce some of that cognitive load for you. First, we'll cover the anatomy of overwhelm. Second, support for neurotypical minds. Third, support for autistic minds. Fourth, support for ADHD minds. And finally, number 5, the 15-minute reset. All right, let's dive right into section 1, the anatomy of overwhelm. We so often picture overwhelm as this loud, obvious panic attack, right? But honestly, a lot of the time, overload is incredibly quiet. It looks like doom scrolling for hours on the couch while feeling progressively worse. It looks like procrastinating on the tasks that actually matter, or constantly task switching but never actually finishing a single thing. Maybe you're suddenly avoiding text messages, or you're struggling to rest even when you finally get some free time, or you just feel totally numb. So many people are out there continuing to function, hitting their deadlines, looking perfectly capable on the outside, while privately feeling dangerously close to collapse. So, how do we actually address this? Let's move to section 2, support for neurotypical minds. Now, being neurotypical definitely does not make you immune to overload. The unique friction here is that you might actually be used to coping really, really well. You might have built your whole identity around being the highly capable, hyper-organized person who just handles things. And because of that, it is incredibly difficult to admit when your capacity has suddenly changed. But carrying heavy work demands, caregiving, relationship labor, and financial stress over a prolonged period, that is enough to deplete absolutely anyone. You don't need some massive life crisis to justify feeling overloaded. Prolonged high demand is entirely enough. The sources we looked at outline 4 tailored strategies to navigate this. First, reduce your inputs. Honestly ask yourself, what information are you taking in that isn't actually helping you act? Turn off those notifications. Second, and this is absolutely crucial, choose a minimum viable day. On the really hard days, decide what counts as enough. Maybe it's eating one nourishing meal, doing one essential work task, and just stepping outside for 10 minutes. This isn't about lowering your standards forever, it's just recognizing that your capacity fluctuates. Third, create a hard boundary around AI. Ask yourself what single tool would actually make your life easier right now, and just learn that one thing. Skip the rest. And lastly, shift your focus from vague, global worry to a small sphere of control. Check on a friend or just do the very next meaningful task in front of you. Let's transition over to section 3, support for autistic minds. For autistic individuals, overwhelm isn't just about having too many things on a to-do list. It's fundamentally about how much raw energy it takes just to process the environment. Adapting to a world that is heavily designed around neurotypical expectations requires a massive and often entirely invisible amount of energy. Things like sensory overload, ambiguous social demands, unexpected changes to a routine, and the sheer intense effort of masking, trying to appear neurotypical, all of this can lead to deep fatigue and really profound burnout. The key insight from the material here is practical support. First, conduct an energy audit. Literally treat your energy as a tangible currency. A simple errand might require multiple transitions and a bunch of micro decisions, costing way more energy than it looks like from the outside. You have to plan around your actual capacity, not some imagined ideal version of it. Second, actively reduce your sensory load. Things like noise-canceling headphones or blocking out transition times between meetings, those aren't indulgences, they are necessary supports. And finally, you have to build in time where you absolutely do not need to mask or perform. Real rest isn't just about sleeping. It's about having safe spaces where you are completely free from managing other people's social expectations. All right, moving on to our third blueprint, Section 4, Support for ADHD Minds. For those navigating ADHD, modern overwhelm often shows up as this intense difficulty in just starting tasks. You might experience time blindness, emotional intensity, and a really frustrating vicious cycle of overcommitting to things and then completely crashing. It's so vital to understand that a modern world demanding constant stimulation, continuous availability, and rapid, relentless task switching, it asks significantly more from this specific type of nervous system. It's not about being less capable. It's simply a mismatch between environmental demands and neurological wiring. The most effective workaround for this mismatch is externalizing your executive function. Basically, do not rely on your working memory or internal motivation. You've got to get systems outside of your head. Use visual task lists, set visible timers, use alarms. Try something called body doubling, where just working alongside someone else helps anchor your focus. And when you break tasks down, don't just break them into steps, break them into micro starts. Also, proactively ask for workplace adjustments, like clearer written priorities or flexible start times, way before you reach a crisis point. The goal here isn't to force yourself to be more normal. The goal is to set up systems that make your life much more workable. Now, no matter your neurological profile, there are going to be moments when everything is just way too much. And that brings us to Section 5, the 15-minute reset. Let's walk through how this 15-minute reset protocol actually works in real time. Minutes 1 to 3. Pause the input. Put your phone face down. Close the browser tabs. You aren't avoiding reality here. You're just creating a tiny bit of room to think. Minutes 4 to 6. Name it. Simply write down a list of literally everything pulling at you, just to physically get it out of your head. Minutes 7 to 10. Separate now from later. Mark what actually needs attention today, what can wait, and honestly, what isn't even yours to solve. Minutes 11 to 13. Choose one next step. Just pick the absolute smallest useful action. Send one email or, hey, just drink a glass of water. And finally, minutes 14 and 15. Regulate. Breathe slowly, stretch your R's, or just look out a window. This signals to your body and proves to your brain that this exact moment is, in fact, entirely manageable. If you take nothing else away from this explainer, remember this crucial point. You cannot sustainably outwork a nervous system that is overloaded. Sure, you might be able to push through for a while. You might hit all the deadlines, figure out that new AI software, and look perfectly functional to everyone else. But pushing through without recovery comes with a massive cost. The whole point of all these blueprints is not to make you more efficient at ignoring your own needs. Hear this. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to protect your attention. So I want to leave you with this provocative question to chew on. Will you build a life that actually fits your nervous system, or will you endlessly force your nervous system to fit the world? Whether you are neurotypical, autistic, or navigating ADHD, letting go of the toxic belief that exhaustion is somehow proof you're trying hard enough, that is the very first step toward finding your genuine capacity. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Take a deep breath, close a few of those open tabs in your browser, and I'll see you next time.